In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience of depression while going through grief. But before that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Ghazala from the Heart and Soul Cafe. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're here for the first time, then pull up a chair, get yourself a drink, and let's have a chat. Okay. So depression for me looked like this. I lost my son 4 years ago, 4 years in April 2021. And the way I describe my experience of depression was that I fell down this deep, dark, black hole. And that's the best way I can explain how it felt. It was cold, it was lonely, it was frightening. There was no visible way out. And I think that was the very first time in my life I have been in such a place. Even though I've had losses before in my life, but I've never experienced that. And while being in there was times when I thought, when I was thinking that, my head saying things like, well, Ghazala, there's no one really gonna sort of get you out of here. The only person that's going to get you out of here is you, and no one's actually going to do it for you. You have to somehow find the strength. But that was the problem, having the strength, finding that motivation, finding any kind of meaning and purpose, finding anything that actually made any sense, any sort of light, that light at the end of the tunnel. There just wasn't any. So I didn't know what to grab hold of. Some people describe it as they felt as if it was a free fall, falling from the sky, not knowing, what's waiting for them, but for me, I think it was very much that hole, that deep, dark black hole. So my head was sometimes saying something quite logical, like, for example, in order for you to, get out of this hole, you need to find the strength and find the motivation. But yeah, okay, I get that. So it's almost like me having a conversation with myself, or that dissociation of me disconnecting with myself, the personalization that I've talked about before. So my head saying some things that sound quite logical, but my heart felt that it was shattered in so many pieces that I didn't really know where the pieces were, let alone sort of try and put anything back together again and make any sense of anything and try to get, this machinery functioning again in any kind of way. I couldn't see a way out. Nothing was really coming to me. So depression is a level of sadness. Depression is a mood disorder. And there's different levels of depression. There's mild, moderate, severe, depending on how many symptoms you have. And we don't really want to mix it all up intertwine it with grief, because grief itself will bring times of depression. Because if we look at the 5 stages of grief, and again, not linear, but it's quite clear, the Kubler-Ross model of 5 stages of grief, there's definitely depression there. And so that is something that we could all experience after experiencing loss. We can have times of sadness, of deep sadness, and that's okay. The only time when it can become problematic is if we stay there for a long period of time. Now, what's a long period of time? Well, that can differ as well. That can differ from one person to the other. There's no There's no guidebook. There's no rule. There's no right or wrong way to do this grief. It's like a fingerprint. It's like your own experience. It's your own journey. It's your own unique experience. So again, I can only really talk about myself because I'm present in this story. That for me, I think it was around about 6 to 8 months where I felt completely lost, completely dissociated with myself, with the world, couldn't make any sense of anything. It was darkness. There wasn't really any future, no future that I could actually see. There wasn't any future that I really felt that I wanted to be a part of. Nothing was appealing. No food tasted nice. Nothing in the world actually looked appealing. It was all grey. It was all gloomy. It was all, what's the point of anything? And that was it, really. What's the point? Then with time, in my depression, I have explained before that I came to like a fork in the road, and one side of that fork was very much, I just give in. I can't do this, so I will allow the grief to win. I will allow this situation and this awful event to destroy me, and that is my fate, and that is how it's going to be, and accept that. But then it was, well, what was the whole purpose of that? Has my life up until now just been a complete lie? Has it been completely meaningless? From the day I was born to this day, was it just a complete waste of time? And I thought, well, no, I don't think so. I don't think that is how I perceive myself, and not how I would like to be remembered, but sort of what I stood for and what I found, what I think to be sort of important in life. So it was all against that for me to give in. Mm-hmm. So the only other option was the other side of that fork, and the other side of the fork was quite a profound thought of, if I'm going to honor my son, I need to live my life, completely to the best of my ability. And that other sort of profound thought was, well, I need to help others. I need to hopefully try and be that person, that go-to person for others. And then I have some knowledge of mental health. I have some counseling qualifications. I know I've had drive and passion before in my life, so possibly I could find that again. But it was finding that. It was from here to get to, the place I was in, to get to where I feel I could possibly make some kind of a difference. Seemed like a long road. Seemed like almost a journey that was sort of doubtful, if you like, and I didn't really have much faith in it. But I think the feeling of honoring my son was quite strong, and I thought that I am probably the only person in this world that can and will honor him in a way that we all possibly deserve. Everyone that knows him, everyone that knew him, everyone that was in his life. So then came a sense of responsibility with that. And I took that responsibility. I thought to myself, yeah, I do believe that the only person that's actually going to be able to do this is me in my story. So I'm going to have to try and find that strength. And I'm going to try and have to take some small steps in the right direction. And hopefully in time, I will, some doors will start opening up to me. And that's really what I felt and thought. I shared some of these ideas very sort of superficially with some people that are close to me, some friends, some family members that are close, that I feel close to and I trusted. And I got expressions of encouragement, words of encouragement from them. And they said things to me like, I can see you in that role. I can see you doing that. You're such a strong person. And I wasn't sure about whether I liked that word strong because I didn't feel strong at the time. And finding strength seemed very difficult. Possibly the word strength needed to be more like the word resilient. But resiliency only sort of comes about and shows its head when you have shifted. You have shifted from that low point to say, I am going to make a change here. I'm going to take what I've learned and take what I can gather from this because I've lost so much, and not focusing on what I've lost, but focusing on what I can maybe retrieve from this and what I can pick up from this. And those are my new sort of set of tools. And if I can gather those and I can go forward with those, then I can possibly do some good. And that was really the thinking that then got me out of that hole. But the thing to think about is, if you get to a point where you are in that deep dark black hole, or however you want to describe it, and you are not able to function, you're not able to do your daily activities, and your relationships are challenged because of how you are feeling. So in other words, you're not really functioning as you might be able to, then it might become problematic. It might be that you might need to think about seeing a doctor. You might need some, professional help there and support. For example, medication or counseling, or, there's lots of things that maybe could be explored there. For me, I never got to a point, I think, that I felt, or anyone else around me felt, that I needed to, go and seek professional help. And I'm not sure if, doing this is a little bit of, therapy for me. It possibly is, and possibly something that I didn't do at that time, where I have the opportunity to do it now. Because if nobody watches any of these videos that I'm recording and will hopefully start posting, that's okay, because it's still served a purpose. And that purpose is that I am almost logging, journaling, if you like, my experiences and my feelings. And who knows, in time in the future, this might be useful, comforting, have some sort of benefit for my other children that I possibly leave behind. So yeah, it could, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, but I think, it's definitely helping me. And right now, that's a good thing. So no, I never felt that I needed any professional help with regards to my depression, because I think within 6-8 months I started putting things into place, and I remember my cousin giving me a leaflet and saying, you know, this was for a bereavement charity, and she said to me, I think, you know, you might make some use of this. And I did call them. I joined their team. I'm counselling, supporting, befriending women who have also experienced child loss, and that's an honour. That's an honour. I see it as an honour. I'm very proud of being a part of that team, because there's a group of beautiful and courageous, ambitious, you know, women doing all sorts of wonderful work in their lives, and then they take some time out and, you know, contact a client and allow them a platform to share, and they listen without judgment. I'm proud of being a part of that, because I've been doing that for 3.5 years now. So I am proud of that, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And then there was other things as well. I started up a charity in my son's name, in his honour, and we've done some good work with that. And then there's this. This is something that, you know, who knows where it might go. I mean, if I was going to be completely honest, then hopefully we sort of create a community of people that are experiencing grief, bereavement, and they are a part of this, so that we can help others. And it has a little bit of it has a way of reaching out to more and more and more people, like a rippling effect. That's a word I was looking for, a rippling effect. And I feel that that's a useful thing. So again, if you're experiencing depression, if you're experiencing, you know, after loss, if you're struggling with depression and finding it hard to find any motivation to do anything, to function, then please do, you know, comment. Please do. Let's talk about that. Again, you know, if you feel that you've got to a place where this has been going on for a long time, in your opinion, and then you maybe need to think about seeking some professional help and advice. And you know, please do that. Please don't struggle. Please don't suffer in silence. Do reach out. There'll be someone out there who gets you, who you can feel comfortable talking to. It doesn't have to be me. It can be anyone who joins this community, hopefully, and, you know, we can all help each other. And that is the aim of the Heart and Soul Cafe. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for allowing me to do what I love to do, and that is make meaningful connections with others. So I wish you all the best, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.